Well, good morning, and thanks to all the folks, quite a number of folks that joined Patreon yesterday. It really helps to support the channel. We are going to get into this whole business about Tesla losing market share. Oh my goodness, I'm pretty sure that's why the stock is down this morning, because of all of those headlines. I think that's probably even affected the numbers yesterday. It matters about this much, and I'll tell you why. All right, oil is up this morning, and you can thank the President of the United States very specifically for that. Send him a note. Thank him so much for setting the price of oil up. It was up as high as 4%, not as much now. No one else is responsible, just him. I'll show you why. Well, we'll also take a hard look at the bond action, and this is really where all the focus is on the market right now. So, number one, this is Randy Kirk. Please hit the like button, hit subscribe, hit notify. Great programming coming up today. Larry Goldberg will be joining us tonight to look at the week in review, and boy, what a week it's been. But I do need to talk to you about a big issue here, that Tesla is now selling cyber beer, and they're also selling a cyber beer opener. Now, I know that they will probably end up being the number one cyber opener out there, and I'll be happy to take the position of BYD in this race. Our opener is way more fun than theirs. Are you kidding me? I mean, and ours has got a refrigerator magnet. I mean, theirs doesn't. Yes, theirs is made out of the actual same stainless steel as a Cybertruck, but come on, it's $50 and ours is only 25. Anyway, we'll talk a little bit more about that at the end. All right, so we have an auction out yesterday of the 30-year Treasury debt, and it didn't do well. It didn't have a lot of takers. Well, I think it was like 72% or something like that, all got bought out. 82%. 18% had to stay on offer. That's the most that's happened since February this year. Usually it's around 10% that stays on offer. But this is, just a sign, according to some. The highest yield accepted in the market for the 30-year Treasury bond on Thursday was 4.837, almost 5% on a 30-year. I don't know why people aren't snapping those up. It makes no sense to me. Anyway, the gap between the anticipated yields and the highest accepted yield is called the tail. Higher tails at auctions, in plain English, indicate that government bond issuers had to entice investors with a premium over and above the market rate on bonds in order to get that debt placed. Well, if there are tons of folks looking to buy that yield, the yield would be a lot lower. Chris Gunster, partner and head of fixed income strategies at Fidelis Capital, told Barron's, it suggests demand isn't matching expectations. Okay, so investors may not consider the 30-year the best predictor. No, they do not. They consider the 10-year. But the last week's auction of the 10-year and the 3-year were also weak. That suggests there are fewer takers on government debt across various points on the curve. The messaging on weak demands comes as term premium, a theoretical value that reflects the amount of extra yield investors are demanding in order to hold a long-term debt, hit a positive value for the first time since 2021, late last month. It's the compensation that investors demand for the risks of the. They just said that. Those risks, including changes in monetary policy, are unexpected inflation that could alter the value of long-term debt. Well, there's no unexpected inflation, so it's 100% about these fear factors. And it's also partially, as always, there's always technical issues as well. And just the total amount of dollars that are available. Taken together, it suggests investors are stepping back from their purchases as they stay fearful of the market volatility and the Federal Reserve's moves. But there are other issues that weren't brought up in this article that should have been brought up in the article. Number one, the Fed is continuing to sell off its portfolio in what's called quantitative tightening. After the quantitative easing of the last 3 years, now we've got quantitative tightening. Quantitative tightening continues with securities down $1.9 billion and assets down $3.7 billion in the last reporting period. We also have Japan and China selling bonds in very large numbers Those factors are because they're trying to support their currencies, and those factors are also playing in. All right, staying with finance for a few minutes here. We know that the banks were reporting this morning, the end of the first week, really the first week of the earnings season. And it was the banks today: JP Morgan Chase, Wells Fargo, Citigroup, and BlackRock all beat handily this morning. And overall, that's good news for the market. The market was up in the early going, probably still up right now. And bond yields were coming down this morning, 10 basis points last time I checked. But here's the rub. Oil prices on Friday rose initially about 4%. Last time I checked, it was less than 4% after the U.S. government tightened sanctions against Russian crude exports. The U.S. on Thursday imposed sanctions on 2 shipping companies carrying Russian crude and said they had violated the G7's oil cap of $60 a barrel. The price cap is a mechanism designed to retain a reliable supply of Russian flows in the market while curbing the Kremlin's war chest. Look, I'm all for Russian sanctions, but the POTUS needs to offset these kinds of actions with inflows from other resources, or he is contributing to the inflation problem. I'm so confused. Well, I'm going to go over this next part quickly because we'll run out of time. But, each quarter before the Tesla earnings comes up, which is next Wednesday, folks vote on their 10 top things that they want to know, the 10 top questions that they would like to have asked, which will be asked at the Tesla earnings call. And let me just go down these quickly, and I'll give you very short responses to each of these. Number 1, can you provide a progress update on the 4680 cell, particularly progress towards performance improvements and cost savings outlined on Battery Day? Thank you. Well, yes, they did. They just said that they had made their 20 million cell, which was 10 million in the last 4 months. The limiting factor came out, did a very nice analysis of that, and then Randy Kirk and Brian Wang did a even better analysis 2 days ago. You can find the video of course, on the channel. And yes, they're doing well. They're going up 21% per month. And that means that they will be fully ramped in 6 months. Number 2, how is FSD V12 progress going? What are the biggest challenges? I have no idea. My expectation is it's going to be one of these things that one day it'll just work, just like ChatGPT. Number 3, how many Cybertruck deliveries do you expect in 2024? There's a big range of what people are expecting. I would say between 150 and 250,000. I right now am modeling the lower number because we don't know how easy it's going to be to ramp this completely new concept. And then do you expect the 4680 ramp to support both Cybertruck and Model Y production next year? The numbers which suggest yes, and have even more available, even beyond Cybertruck and Model Y. The next question was, will Optimus be working in the Gigafactories next year? If so, how many would you guess will be deployed? And that'll be an interesting question for me, of course, but I'm still saying that they will be making a pilot line, and at least a pilot line this year, and they will be producing in quantity in 2024. And I want them to make 1 million next year, and I think they could, but I don't think they will. So I'm going to say 100,000 in 2024 as a minimum, bare minimum. And yes, they will be putting them in their factories. They will be putting them in the factories of their suppliers, and they will be selling them or leasing them to others, renting them. Can you give us an update on expected ramp for the Tesla Semi? I would love to hear that number. I'm just modeling 50,000 for 2025. But I do believe that there will be a pilot line almost now or immediately or in the next few weeks where they will start making at least like 100 or 200, 300 a month, maybe more. Are any Tesla suppliers going to be impacted by the strikes? And I have no idea. I'd love to hear that answer. When do you expect Model 3 Highland to be available in the US? I'm saying January. I hope it's January. I hope it's no later than that, but I'm way more concerned about the Model Y changes. I'm hoping those will be in early 2024 as well. So Tesla Model 3 and Y now cost approximately the same is this separate? Okay. Oh, Tesla Model 3 and Y now cost approximately the same as an average non-luxury car in the US. Why does Tesla repeatedly choose price cuts over other cheaper strategies to grow volume? This is very easy because they don't have enough total addressable market at those price points. It isn't that they don't have enough. There's plenty of folks that would love to have a Tesla, but they can't afford the price points, especially with the interest rates this high. Very simple. I'm sure that's exactly what they're going to say. And then there were 6 questions from the institutional investors. Could you please provide an update on capacity expansion plans for the different factories? Berlin, I think all of these are just about ready to go. So I think Berlin's expansion will be taking place quickly. Mexico, I believe they're almost ready to go. I also believe Reno's permitting and everything is getting lined up. Maybe all of these will be breaking ground before the end of the year. Do you have an approximate timeline for robotaxi? No, because robotaxi requires FSD. As soon as FSD is ready, then we'll have robotaxi shortly thereafter. I would say 3 to 6 months after. How do Model 3 Highland gross margins compare? They might talk about this. I think they're substantially down, but the big story is on batteries. The batteries will be free. That was a video we did yesterday. If you didn't see that, you might want to go take a look at the fact that Tesla batteries after IRA will be virtually free. And then they ask about Mercedes now, saying they'll take legal liability when people are using their highest level of automated driving, asking if Tesla will do the same thing. They don't have a choice. Legally, they will be responsible anyway. Once the car is driving itself, when you're using that feature, they'll be liable, period. That's not legal advice. I'm a lawyer, but I didn't take the bar, and I'm not practicing. I'm not a member of the bar. Anyway, Tesla's US market share is in. The quarterly number isn't good, say the headlines. Everywhere, lots of headlines. Their market share is down. Their market share is not doing as well. They were at 65 or 70%. Now they're down to 50%. What's going on here? Thursday, automotive data provider Cox released its third quarter U.S. electric vehicle report. Total sales of all BEVs came in 313,000 units, a record, up from 295 in the second quarter and 205 in the third quarter of 2022. So a 50% increase over last year. Year to date, about 867,000 BEVs have been sold in the U.S., almost 50% up for the year to date numbers. And BEVs accounted for 8.3% of all light vehicle sales. We are in the curve. We're in the, Tony Seba, he's been right. He's been right. He's been right. He continues to be right. Those big picture numbers are positive for EV enthusiasts, but the news for Tesla isn't as good. They delivered 156,000 cars, down from 175 in the second quarter, but up from 131 in the third quarter of 2022. So their market share is down to 50%, down from 60% in the second quarter and 64% last year in the third quarter. Oh, my goodness gracious. Okay, let me just, you guys all listen to Stephen Mark Ryan. I'm sure you've all heard his statement on this. I've made the same statement. Market share doesn't matter when you're basically maxed out on production and when you're hitting your goals. The goal is 50% growth per year, year over year, based on 2020 sales of 500,000. Just do the 50%, 50%, 50%. We need to do less than 1.8 million this year. We will do more than 1.8 million, so we are on track. However, having said that, for the very first time, there is a slight splinter in the soup. Now, what is this? There's a slight fly in the soup. I don't want to mix my metaphors here. All right. Tesla did not put their pedal to the metal this year. I've said this over and over again, because there isn't enough people, just like I said above. We need more folks that are not willing to pay that dollar amount to be in the mix. And that can be done through different cars. It can be done through lowering the price. Well, if they can lower the price and maintain the margins, then why not? But it wasn't enough. There still wasn't enough folks out there in this market setting that could afford the monthly payment given interest rates where they are right now. We'll see what happens next year, but that's what's going on, folks. They're selling out in the Shanghai, selling out 100%. They can't make any more. Berlin can make more. Austin can make more, but and they will next year. Both of those, the ramps will continue next year. Hopefully interest rates will start to come down and that'll be a help. But part of it will be the batteries are going to be free, so margins will be very strong. All right. On the other hand, Gary Black posted on X today that Tesla next year will have a capacity to make 2.7 million vehicles. Now, Gary's a bull. He's respected. His numbers, he spends a lot of time coming up with his numbers. He runs a fund, so he needs to be right, more right than I need to be. I think his numbers are fine. 2.7 million is probably their capacity next year. That depends, of course, a lot on what happens with Cybertruck in terms of the capacity there. If you subtract 10% for that, for downtime and holidays and everything else, I think they come in between 2.4 and 2.5 million next year. Again, they could come in higher if they really, really put their pedal to the metal. Okay, Electric is reporting this morning. This is a great story to end with before I go into the numbers. Tesla Model 3 owner Jack Heshey parked his car in a parking garage in Vancouver. He came back to pick it up and he goes, oh my gosh, they've closed the parking lot. And so he goes, what am I going to do? Oh, he gets out his phone and he hits summon and the car comes over to the gate. And of course it triggers the device, the automatic device, and the garage goes up. Good thinking, Jackie Heshey. What a good job you did. All right. So the Model 3 saved the day. All right. Where are the markets right now? So Tesla is almost back in the green. People are ignoring, I hope, those headlines. But the stock market is up nicely, and so Tesla should be up nicely. The Dow is up almost a full percent. The NASDAQ is up 20.24, and the S&P is up 0.5%. Boy, they're all over the place this morning. Tesla is down 0.19%. Let's go over those in dollars, because some people prefer the dollars. So the Dow's up 252, NASDAQ up 31, S&P up 22, and Tesla is down 50 cents. I think Tesla will end up in the green today as people begin to look past next week's earnings report. But the main thing they're worried about is the margins, and I think the margins are going to be a beat. So whatever happens, I'm not worried about what happens this week. I know everybody's all over my case. Not everybody. Some people probably think it's fine. I continue to say 300 by the end of the month. That is, of course, all kinds of things with wars and Fed decisions and the president making stupid decisions about when they're going to put these sanctions on people and mess up the oil market, which was nicely going down. Anyway, so many things that we have no control over could change things between now and the end of the month. Everything being fairly normal, we're going to be at 300 at the end of the month. That's my prediction. Okay, so Tesla now only down 27 cents, heading toward the green. The Magnificent Seven are all over the place, some up, some down, but only by a few cents each direction. And the Cathie Woods. By the way, some of you don't know what the Cathie Wood stocks are. Those are stocks that Cathie Wood promotes and thinks are the best stocks in the world to own right now. They are the go-go stocks. They're the future little Teslas. They are risky, but they're very high growth stocks, high potential. Anyway, that's who the Cathie Wood stocks are. All right, now let's go over and take a look at the other numbers over here. By the way, they fixed that problem yesterday whatever they were doing with oil, it's now all back to normal again. Thank you very much, CNBC, for doing that. All right, so what we have right now is we got the Bitcoin up about 155, still under 27,000 though, after a big fall off yesterday. The dollar is softening just a little bit, but that's probably some profit taking. There's a point at which the dollar is not going to be able to go that much higher. Gold is up huge this morning, up $2.24%, up $42 to $19.25. Don't know what's going on there. Flight to safety, I guess, with a couple of wars going on. Oil prices were up for it. Now they're only up a little over 3%, up $2.72, still right in the middle of the range. I'm not terribly worried about this. They're probably 100%. This $2.75 is probably everything that we are going to get off of the stupid POTUS move. All right, then we got bonds. They were down as much as 11 basis points earlier this morning, now down almost 9 basis points on the 10-year. That is excellent. Love to see that. The 2-month is also down, but only 1 basis point. The 3-month is down 1 basis point, and the The 2-year is down 2 basis points. So the inversion is now back to inverting again. This is, this is gonna be studied for years as what happened to this 16-month inversion. So weird. Okay, one last look back over. Well, actually, we probably will take another look in a minute. So now Tesla's back down $1.64 again. And the Nasdaq's down. So yeah, lots of action this morning. I thought things would kind of trend up this morning with those bank results were so good. Okay. Yesterday, I gave my promised analysis of the baby boomers and their effect on markets and on the economy and on Tesla. This is part of a set of economic circumstances the U.S. has never dealt with before. There's never been a deal like this where the baby boomers are such a huge percentage. I mean, with people over 60 being a huge percentage of the population, bigger percentage than ever in history, and they own more of the assets, more property, more stock, everything, a huge percentage, and it's going to affect everything. So I go into that in detail. Here's a card for that from yesterday. As I mentioned, there's also that video we did with regard to Tesla batteries being basically free. If you want to see that, I'll put that card up as well. Okay, now thank you again for those who joined Patreon. Once again, my deal is way better than the Tesla deal on their bottle opener. You want to get one of these. They're $25. Theirs is $50. So we're at 50, half off of what theirs is, and ours is cuter. It's way cuter. It works just as well. It is stainless steel, even though it's not exactly the same material, and it has a magnet on the back, and ours doesn't use any rare earth metals. So I think you should get one of these, or maybe 5, or maybe 10, because you could be the life of the party when you give these out at Christmas. So send $25 to PayPal.me/Randy Kirk, all in lowercase letters. And if you join Patreon, you'll get 3 benefits. Number 1, you'll be supporting the channel in a major way. Thank you very much for those who are doing that. The numbers are going up, and it's really starting to be an important part of the way we're supporting the efforts on this channel. My team in the Philippines thanks you for your support as well. I have 2 full-time people in the Philippines helping with this show, okay? So help those guys out too. If you can afford the $10, do it. If you can't afford it, don't do it. Okay, number 1 benefit, you're supporting the channel. Number 2 benefit, I'm putting up news as it breaks on Patreon all day long. While I'm out there already looking at all the news, if I see something I think that you would care about, I put it up. 2 to 5 maximum per day. I'm not going to be blowing up your email. And number 3, the third benefit is if you join at the $10 level, you get one of these for free. If you join at the $10 level, if you don't want, why wouldn't you want one? If you don't want this, you can get one of my books for free. 2 at the $10 level. If you join at the $5, you get 1. Okay, you can get one or the other of those 2 offers. So what the heck? What is holding you up from joining Patreon? All the information is below in the description, as well as lots of other. Did you know in my description down there, I talk about all the upcoming shows? Did you ever look at that? I tell you roughly what the upcoming shows are going to be. One last 2-second look. Tesla's now heading back slightly up again, but down $1.89. Okay, we're done. I got to get this thing posted. Bye-bye. It's been great talking to you.